Hi there, parents. Welcome to your Aquarius super full moon astrology energy forecast, where I'm going to take you through the energies that we're feeling at the beginning of this August. And gosh, honestly, it's going to be energies beyond August into fall time, just the period of time that we are entering into and that we will feel very strongly at this full moon on August 11th. And this is also going to be this energy of things to come. So I'm so glad you're here and to share this astrology with you, and hopefully to help you on your parenting journey, having an idea of what's coming up in the energies and what your child or children may be feeling at this time. My name is Chrissy Whistler. I am an evolutionary astrologer, a healer, an intuitive, and even more importantly, I am the parent of 2 magical multi-dimensional kids. So if you are needing support with your unique child and maybe they're incredibly sensitive to these energies and you need help because this is beyond you and you're like, whoa, what do I do with this child who's having these huge experiences and these sensitivities in a way that's different from you? I am here to support you and to guide you if you like. You can check out my website in the link below at chrissywhistler.com. I offer coaching and consulting as well as birth chart readings. So if you want to even really look at your child's birth chart and see what's coming up for them, what areas of their life that they're sensitive in, that is something that I can help you with. And then please like and subscribe, share this video, and let's get this message out there to more parents like you who are really trying and wanting to understand your children and the experiences they may be having. Again, so you can better guide and navigate through this time and this white water we have ahead. All right, so let's get into the astrology of August to help you better navigate this time and the energies ahead. So the real major transit we have right now is Uranus is conjunct the moon's north node in Taurus. And that's taking place at 18 degrees of Taurus. So what does that mean for you? Well, this is a very intense, very groundbreaking, exciting period of time that we are entering into. It is both. It is intense and it is exciting. It is taking us into the future and it is challenging. Okay, so just kind of know this is the energy of Uranus and breaking this new ground. And I also wouldn't be surprised if at this time your children are really acting like little mirrors for you, okay? They themselves might be the ones breaking new ground for you, and you might be the one that's resistant about it. Can you even tell in my voice it's starting to get really, really scratchy? So when that happens, it's the clearing needs to happen. So really tune in for yourself and see what are they showing for you. What new direction are your children showing you to go on and into as a parent? What's true is this future that our children are taking us into, we have never been there before. This is not the same world that our parents taught us and that was taught to them. It's completely different. It's revolutionary. It's groundbreaking. It's this experimentation, okay? Uranus is the future. We are going into the future. It is the unknown, and therefore the unknown is uncomfortable, right? As humans, we really like certainty, and that is not the future. That is not this energy of Uranus. It's a very rebellious kind of energy, experimentation, trying new things that are different and that are risky, especially when you have that Mars energy adding in there. So a lot of risk taking, risk-taking energy on this new direction, these new ventures. And the North Node is our collective evolutionary direction. We are going into this North Node in Taurus, and that means this energy of pulling ourselves out of the intensity, out of the drama, of the manipulations of Scorpio, the lies, the hidden secrets, okay? That can all be the Scorpio energy. We're leaving that behind and going into slowness, minimalistic. What do you find tasty and enjoyable? What do your children find tasty and enjoyable? What is their rhythm, their pace, their way of doing things? All that is Taurus. So we're returning to the earth. We're turning to the slowness. And we're going to be doing this in new ways, creating new systems and structures. So we start bringing in the Saturn square, and I'll get to more of that in a minute. But it's all around new, doing it differently. So that's the energy that your children might very much be reflecting for you at this time. So my invitation for you as parents is, how can you accept what is happening in your life, in your children's lives? You know, whatever it may be, how can you move from this resistance, this, no, this is the way things are, I don't want to change is really uncomfortable, you know, that digging of your heels kind of energy. How can you move out of that resistance and into acceptance? How can you do that? The more you can do that right now, the easier it will be on you, on your relationship with your child, your children right now. Like, this is just this revolutionary, rebellious energy. And it's like, let's just accept it as much as we can. And maybe there's some ways in your life where you're like, I'm sorry, I can't accept that. Like, this is a rule, this is the way it is, and I have really good reasons. So, you know, that's what you will be meeting your child with, you know, and how can you negotiate? How can you find common ground with them to do it differently, you know, or to navigate that? Maybe even listing, this is what's important to me, and them sharing what's important to them. And then that negotiation, right? Listening, you know, Venus rules Taurus. So there is this listening energy with the other. That is very important, and again, very reflective of our relationships with our kids. So try to be flexible this time. Try to go with the flow and just let your kids kind of show you the way that things aren't working. And listening as well to your parental inner gut. And you know what I mean. Like, you have a gut feeling about something in regards to your children. Like, really listen and tune into that. That's also going to be picking up this Mars energy as well, because currently we are in a triple conjunction between Mars, Uranus, and the North Node. So it's all feeding into each other right now. And my question to you as well would be, how have things been difficult for you in your life as your role as a parent? Are you able to be in joy, or is there a lot of tension? Is there a lot of stress and overwhelm in your life? I would love if you would share, so please leave in the comments below and allow me and everyone else in this community this opportunity to see and witness you and what you're going through. Now, why is this happening? Why might you be feeling as you do? Again, you know, it's that Uranus North Node conjunction. Like, where are you resisting in your life? Where is there something that's not really working, and it's time to change it and try it differently and see what happens? Again, this pushing us forward into the future. The future is unknown. The future is uncomfortable. That is this energy of this time. It is confusing. It is scary. And I will say, especially as parents, I mean, you know, like, kind of regardless what's happening on the personal level within your individual life, like pulling us back farther and looking at the global situation that we're in, this global uncertainty with, economics and finances and food. It's like, it is not an easy period of time to be a parent and having these children relying on you, right? They rely on us to feed them and clothe them and provide like a place for them to sleep at night. And for some of you out there, or even many of you, you might be having this absolute gut-wrenching fear that you might not be able to do that. Yeah, see, I'm even just feeling into that energy, tapping into your energy, and just, yeah, this is intense. And so I see you in that. I really do, in what you're going through and what you may be feeling. Because this Uranus energy, it is the sudden shocks and surprises, lightning bolts of energy, this feeling of getting the rug ripped out from under you. So no, it is not easy. Even when you know that this energy is coming and you're like, you have an awareness of it, of what to expect. Maybe if you really understand your birth chart or your children's, you might be knowing what to expect just within your reflected astrology. But it doesn't make it easier and more comfortable to go through. These Uranus transits, because they really push us into this change, into this future, it can be very uncomfortable and exciting, right? It's both. It's always both. This also is a period of accelerated ascension, quantum jumps forward into our future and our consciousness. And you might be really surprised of how that's reflected in your kids at this time. Like, they might really be surprising you. Maybe they're really tapping into the quantum field and you're like, whoa, how did you know that thing that I was talking to this person like over there in a whole nother building, and your kids are picking up on that. So just kind of allow for these shocks and surprises and your children to teach you more about what they can even do. And I bet it's going to be way more than you ever believed was possible. That's also this energy coming in, especially around our children. And to share with you as well, parents, we are jumping timelines at this present. So again, you are probably aware and seeing it on the world stage, this reverberations of the past are coming through. A couple decades ago, where were we in this, Cold War with Russia and so forth? It's like this repeating of cycles. We're in this repeating of cycle around, increased gas prices, inflation, and so forth. So it's like we are having history repeat itself. So we have this opportunity to heal these timelines if we so choose. And again, the reason I'm bringing it up for you parents is to be aware, what timelines are your children reflecting to you in your relationship with them? Or maybe the relationship with your partner. Maybe even it's about parenting itself. But whatever it is it ready to be seen and witnessed, learned from? Are you ready to change that timeline and to make a new one? Another layer I would like to add to this dynamic is Uranus rules the nervous system. I've talked about that before, but if you have children who are incredibly sensitive in their central nervous systems, this is period of time that we're coming into will be could be very highlighted for them. Every child is different. So, I have Eric one day, literally playing in the water because that's what he needs to get out of his energy. And another day, that water isn't nearly enough to help him dispel all this electricity coming through him. Whereas Kate does a more emotional reaction to her sensitivity. So they're even both different, and they're brother and sister. As well as the body, that this could be happening for them, trauma. We are in a collective that has been in and is still going through a lot of trauma. So how can this be highlighted? Restlessness, sleeplessness, Pay attention. See how this energy, this collective experience that we're all having and going through might be reflected in your kids or even in yourself. You may find that you have this experience where your child does something or says something, or something even like them coming to you and telling you, wow, that person said something really mean to me in school, something like that. And then all of a sudden it's like, bam, you are triggered. You are taken back to when you were 8 or 9 and someone said something to you, or you were one of the last kids, like always picked to get on the kickball team and so forth. And you're having this response within your body, your emotional system, and it's like completely blown out of proportion. Because you're no longer that 9-year-old, for example. Like, this has happening to your child, like not to you living it at this moment in time. Your bodies and your emotions
Mom,
are...
what's that?
Mommy's filming right now.
18 minutes?
Probably at least 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Can I see?
Yes, you can see.
Where are you?
Well, I'm going to have to edit you out if you come into this.
18 minutes. 18.
Am I at 18 minutes? Okay.
Even 20 minutes left.
Yeah, come back in 20 minutes.
Come back to 20 minutes.
Okay, we'll see if I can do this in 20 minutes. But as I was saying, is you are carrying within you all these collective memories inside your body. And it's like they're happening to you at this moment, except that they're not. So this is a really powerful time to map your body, to map your responses, especially with your kids and them being a mirror to you. As parents, I feel like we have this blessing in our children because they are these little mirrors and they're just holding up to us our childhood, our experiences, and then we have this chance to look in that mirror, to witness and see and to heal. This is how your unconscious, your soul speaks to you through the depths of all of your experiences. It is drawing to you these exact experiences, people, situations to push you so you can witness, so you can heal and reintegrate from these traumatic experiences. And your children can be a huge gateway into that, into bringing it to your attention and to your awareness. If you've never heard about mapping before, one system I love to use is called Internal Family Systems, IFS. You can go online and Google about it. Like I had this very recent, it's recent and not recent. Kate just turned 10 a few days ago. And boy, like it took me into my mother's line, and this almost wall that exists between me and her, and this ease and flow of our relationship. Like it's not mine, it's coming from within me. It's very like hard, very difficult. Like I've been working at this energy to clear it and to heal it for 3 years now, and it's still stuck and holding strong. So I had this experience of like this particular karma just ripening for me to go into and see if I could clear some of this. But it wasn't just mine, like it was coming from down my mother's line. It could be coming from past life dynamics that she and I have shared together. So that's kind of what I mean about mapping is, ooh, this thing that I'm feeling, it's really uncomfortable. I'm not okay with like having this reaction that I do to my daughter. Like I don't like it. Where is it coming from? What's it telling me? What's it trying to teach me? And it's those kind of feelings and those kind of questions that you can really go in and see what your soul is asking you to do, to heal, to reintegrate. So I would love to know, how might that be showing up for you? And is it even something that you are fully consciously aware of, or is it still coming in that reactionary stage? But in doing this work and saying yes to this healing journey, this reintegrating parts of ourselves, we as parents are creating a new timeline. And it's a really beautiful, magical thing. It truly is. And then we are also so supported in the astrology at this moment in time to do this, okay? This is us saying to our ancestors, our lineages, the buck stops with me. I'm not going to allow my daughter or my son to carry on this trauma. No, I'm going to heal it. I'm not passing it down. I'm not kicking the can down the road, because it's this energy of you are the first in your generation that is aware, that knows that you have this power to do this healing work, this clearing. And as you do, it's going to clear your lineage and it's going to clear your generations going forward. Like, this is an absolute gift to give to your children. And I mean, they're going to have plenty of other crap they inherited from us. I mean, you know, like there's no perfection in this parenting thing. And yet you're handing them a little bit less baggage. So there's more opening for them to just go and shine and be who they are and who they've always been meant to be. And I'll add as well, there are many ways to get to that kind of clearing and healing. If you need support on that, I am here for you. Again, offer healing sessions, coaching, birth chart readings. And I also recommend Dharma Stars and Dean Marston, who uses light language to help clear. And both of those groups and practitioners I personally work with, because I'm still here and I am both a teacher in supporting you, and I'm also still a student, still clearing, always learning. There's always more to learn. So those are wonderful resources for you. Now just tuning back into the astrology. Again, this is a time of new directions, revolutions, and how might we show up as parents to that energy that our kids might be bringing to us, and what they might actually need of this world and these systems, rather than the ones that have already been set up and the ones that we've been conditioned to just give them. So I had a really powerful, intuitive message channeling come for me for the kids this month. I'm so excited about it. I opened that gateway for these children and they just show up. They do not hold back. So if you haven't yet, and I'll go ahead and link it in the description below, to check out my Parent Kids Lionsgate portal reading that I did, as well as our August reading for parents and kids. Just again, like, these are kids coming in and they are saying no to the old systems, which again is so supported by the astrology at this time. Like, it's just wild how much that they're tapping into it and calling it in. These kids are fully attuned to this new Aquarian age that we've started. And they're here to do things differently. They're here to do it better, to move out of this distorted Pisces age and into this new, brand new beginning, this new direction. One of the reasons I talk so much about Uranus is this kind of energy you're better off meeting head on. You know what to expect, you know what's asking of you, and you're stepping up and saying, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try, as uncomfortable and as hard as this is, meeting it. Because you don't want Uranus to come and force you into something. Again, rug getting ripped out from under your feet kind of thing. Like, it's just better to meet it than just get tossed around by the waves and to be in that crumbling tower as everything changes. And as I mentioned earlier, we are still in this rare triple conjunction between Mars, Uranus, and the North Node. And so what this means now until the end of August, mid-August, August-ish, it's a very fast energy, volatile, turbulent, eruptive, volcanic, earthquake energy, okay? And you may have seen this reflected in your kids, whether their actual energy body and their sensitivity with their central nervous system, or in their emotions, or even their anger, like getting really angry and eruptive with you, and in like this real depth of like, no, that is not right, that is not fair, like really like getting into that kind of energy. You might have noticed that. And you might be, again, noticing that for the energy to come as well, because this Uranus North Node energy is staying with us until next year, until February. They're going to be at exact as they move along together. And just as an example to share, like for my family, it's just been very intense, very sensitive. One moment I've got Eric as a cyclone of energy, and then the next he's in full-on tears because he can't summon a dragon in Minecraft, and just heartbroken about it. Are you back?
How many minutes left?
Well, I'm working on it. Oh, the intensity of my kids. And just to share another quick story for you as well, right when Mars was conjunct those two energies, I totally had a moment when he wasn't able to listen to me when he was at the pool because the energy was so intense. Like he fully couldn't listen. Like he just couldn't. And I had to go into the water with my clothes on to grab him and pull him to me and hold him, and just said to him again and again, like as I held him and he resisted and he wanted out, just saying, I love you, and trying to keep myself calm, because I was also triggered as I had all these other families watching me as I was sitting there in my clothes with my water and the child who doesn't want to be there. And yet I needed to do that to break that cycle that he was in, so everyone around him could be safe, because he couldn't control his energy. So I had to go in and hold that space of calm and then not react to everybody else around me. And then when he calmed, I sat in the water for a few minutes, calming myself down. And then when I was done with that, I went out and finished my yoga in my soaking wet clothes. So I knew it was to be expected in that week. And of course, that didn't make that moment any easier, but I had that additional awareness. So I'm hoping that this is the kind of service that I can give for you if you find yourself in that kind of intensity. You know at least why it's happening. Mars is bringing in this very hot energy, fiery, instinctual. We might see fires at this time, but it's also bringing in its own purifying energy to the land and clearing and cleansing. So we're getting both with these natural disasters that we might have, this tragedy and destruction, and also healing and clearing as well. But just be aware, parents, you may be seeing this explosive tectonic activity reflected in your kids, or even in your reaction to them. So adding to all this intensity, as you are seeing, as I am trying to film my hardest to finish this video for you, on August 7th, we have Mars square Saturn. So talk briefly about what that means. It's highlighted intense tension that's happening between Uranus and Saturn. And it is available to use creatively, but don't avoid what's unpleasant or challenging at this time. Instead, ask yourself, how can I use this energy? How can I meet it head on and be that potter at the wheel, shaping this energy to what you desire, to what you want to create for your future? And again, be mindful, parents. How might this energy be showing up in your children this August and through fall time? We are no longer living in the same world again as our parents. Our kids are no longer living in that world. They're bringing in a new one, okay? This is the time to rebel, to go your unique path, to challenge the norm, test the rules, discover what is working, what is not, what is natural law, what is man-made law that isn't working. I'm sure my microphone is not working and only picking up my voice, right? But it's these different systems and structures, these expectations and obligations that aren't working. And you might have kids who are those souls who are here to bust right on through the glass ceiling of all of that. As much as it may scare you, let them. Follow them. Go into the unknown, this uncertainty, this future with them, and see where it takes you. This is a time of breaking free, of sovereignty, of reclaiming the true depths of who we are, what has been lost, and returning to us, and our children are going to be the guide to making that happen. So what are your needs to be sovereign? What are your child's needs? They're all going to look different, so look at them, be aware of them. And here I am doing my part to not resist what currently is happening in my child's energy at this moment and letting it be what it is and doing my best. So that's the energy of this moment and my invitation to you to try your best to do the same and let it be what will be. All right. Eric is using his water energy in the shower, so I'm really hoping that that is enough so I can continue and finish with this. So again, if you have these children who are very Aquarius souls that are here to be these world changers, world shapers, they will let you know. If you haven't noticed, I've got at least one of those. These kids, and it's actually both of mine, but these kids will not be molded into cookie cutter boxes and labels of the past. They simply won't. They are not here to do the same things as you and I did. They're simply not. And they will hold that boundary of their souls with something fierce, and they're not going to let it go. So instead of resisting the truth, you're literally witnessing me doing that, not resisting. Ask instead, ask yourself, how can I trust? How can I follow my children? How can I do the scariest thing in the world possible and let them lead me? These kids, especially these very unique gifted ones, they are bringing us into this multi-dimensional reality. And in fact, they're already living it. And it's you and I who are the ones that kind of need to get caught up with the times. But pay attention. I promise if you understand these energies, if you understand what your children are unconsciously seeking from you, it will be so much easier to meet their needs. In fact, this actually reminds me of nonviolent communication and the needs versus wants charts that they have. And it's almost like these kids are asking us to look at a whole new layer of needs. Your children may not be consciously aware of them, they just might be reacting. And yet you have this opportunity to be aware. You will be reacting and responding to this new layer that's tied into natural law itself, into the evolutionary direction of your child's soul at this exact moment in time. So while they may be displaying their anger at you by refusing to get out of the pool, right? That's still challenging and difficult. You will be able to meet them in a more calm place. Because you're going to have this understanding of the layers of what that pool might be doing for them. As I've been sharing with that Eric, like water is very calming and soothing and helps him dispel all his fire energy and that electricity, the sensitivity that he has, especially with what our collective is going through right now. And it helps because you're not going to be as triggered in those moments because you'll have this better understanding of what the heck is going on. And it doesn't really have to necessarily do with you, the parent, and them not listening to you. Sometimes it's they actually can't listen. You will then be able to better hold the space, to hold the teaching, to hold that energy that their soul is asking of you in that moment. These changes, they don't have to be hard or complex or difficult. That's the Taurus medicine. It can be simple. It can be easy. It can be minimalistic. So clear the clutter from your life. Clear the drama. Clearing energy. Clear the judgment. I was really hearing judgment very strongly. That might be affecting you in your life. Clear it all out so you can allow more space for what is to come in. And that is, what do you find enjoyable and tasty? What do you love? What do your children love? You know, I really ask you right now to ask of yourself, does this person or activity or situation benefit my child or me? Because you matter too. So if this is actually toxic, it's not working, then remove it. You know, again, we're stripping away these old systems and structures. We're coming into something new. So if these old things aren't working, toss them. Toss them so you can call in the community that works for you, that supports you and your child and their needs. That's what you want. And hold boundaries. You know, we can't necessarily toss family from our lives. So hold firm boundaries. And the more you say no, the more they will learn. Perhaps not consciously, but they will be learning through your actions. And then, of course, it's up to them what to do with that learning. Right now is also a really strong time about healing around the feminine and the divine feminine. We have Venus in Cancer opposite to Pluto in Capricorn, okay? And that energy is going to continue to be highlighted going forward into this full moon as well. So what does any of that mean? It's really going to be shining a light on these areas where the feminine hasn't been allowed in our society. And as I had shared earlier, I had this very feminine healing and energy really came up for me around Kate's birthday, to sit with it and to really go into the truth, following along my mother's line and the hard work that the women in my lineage have had to do, because women have been oppressed and suppressed through the patriarchy, through thousands of years of these systems and structures. And so really going in and looking at that. And yet it was Kate and her turning 10 that became the mirror for me to see that sticky area. And then as I went into there, it was like this opening of all these many layers, all these parts that were coming forward that really needed me to see them and to witness them so I could heal them and reintegrate these parts back into me. So that might be very strong for you, especially if you have daughters right now. It's an energy that's very up, and it is going to be highlighted as well at this full moon. Ceres is in there as well. So there is this energy also around death, and how do we sit with the emotions of death and tragedy and loss. If you haven't seen the video that I did about that and how we teach this to our kids, I highly recommend you checking it out, and I will go ahead and put up a link for you to see that in case you haven't. But just in general, like this is a real bumpy time, parents, that we're coming into. This energy of 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Because that's how we grow. That's how we are doing this deconditioning and this releasing and shedding of everything that we learned as children, so we don't then pass it on again to our kids. This energy is very much this something's got to give. So parents, proceed with caution. You've got Mars square Saturn as well. The more you are aware of this energy, the more you can see these dynamics playing out between your kids, between you and your kids, the more you can allow for the energy to flow better. So you are not the glass that's being shattered. Okay, this Uranus energy is not going to hold back, and this is setting us up for fall time as well, when we have this last square, exact square to Uranus and Saturn. So this energy, this tension will be ricocheting, building, okay? And again, that's the beauty of knowing the astrology and the energy, is you meet it head on, so you can be flexible, you can adjust, you could go with the flow and learn to harness what is already there rather than resisting what is. So on August 11th, we have the super full moon in Aquarius. It's going to be taking place at 19 degrees Aquarius. And the Saturn will be conjunct a retrograde Saturn in Aquarius. Okay. Again, this is about being a rebel. This is progressive energy, renegade, liberation, transformation. If your kids have any planets or aspects like at that angle, you might want to know what's up ahead for you. Again, so you can better meet it and navigate it. This time is requiring us, parents, to do the necessary work, which is that Saturn energy, to step away from society, from all the old roads we were taught as kids, so we could walk this new path we were meant to. Saturn retrograde energy, okay? That energy is here to really turn the rules on their head. This can be kind of like iconoclasm energy, rule breaking. This energy looks at our systems and our structures and just snorts in disgust and says, I'm going to do it better. I know how to do it better. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of you have kids exactly like that. Very Aquarian souls really coming into this. Something has got to change. They can very much be bringing in this message and not backing down. So how can we meet that? What is being asked of us as parents? How can you do it differently? So be bold at this time. Go experiment, try new things. This is about us stepping into our sovereignty and our willingness to do things differently. And that is what will change the systems. Because the systems aren't going to change themselves. Well, I think our kids are going to be the ones to force the system to change. And then, of course, as parents, we are the ones speaking for them. Because in our society, they don't really have voices of their own. So we are their advocates until they come of age, when their voice actually matters. This current square energy brings in a lot of tenacity, okay? Determination to get things done. Also can be really digging in. So maybe your kids are really digging into their heels about something. Or maybe you are. So just watch yourself. Watch your control of your kids at this time, of society's control of your kids. And I'm going to add too is that we're nearing the middle of August. Most kids are starting to get ready to go back to school. So if you have a child who's very resistant to this, to having their freedoms taken away, like here they had this summer of more freedoms, more joy, more play, and then going back into the school environment, they might be like, I'm not doing this. You can't make me. Really digging in, really saying no. So just to be aware that this energy is in the field. This isn't necessarily about them being bad or willful. Instead, it's a time to really question, is this a necessary control or rule? Or is this a place where I can actually meet my kids and give them some more freedom? And again, we have the square between Saturn and Uranus that is being very highlighted right now. And I fully expect from our willful, strong-minded kids for them to push into this energy and hold this like going against the grain. They're here to be these world shakers, and they're going to step into that power and just like start testing it, start experimenting, start trying this energy that's within them. So just be aware. This is a real time where control versus freedom will be highlighted, old versus new, and our collective destiny, right? Uranus and conjunct that North Node. So my invitation for you is, as challenging as it may be, listen to your kids. If they're standing in their power and their voice and sharing something to you that they believe isn't right or isn't fair or feels wrong, don't just dismiss it or ignore it or just say, this is the way things are always done, you just better get over it and get used to it. This is the time to really, really think and ponder and question, how can we do things differently? This is the time to meet Uranus head on rather than Uranus forcing us into it, okay? I also expect that during this time, our kids might be getting some real downloads and insights, okay? So watch for that, about our future, this new ways of how we can do things, like bits and pieces, this connection of their higher mind coming in, which is Uranus. How can we work with this world, understand them, and change it? And I'll add as well, with the full moon being conjunct retrograde Saturn, this can be a very depressing period of time, very introspective for you. You might feel like you're being restricted. And it's okay that we have this heaviness in this energy. There are times when we do need to feel that. And that's also true for your kids. So if there's Saturn transiting the moon, or your fourth house, for example, that's what mine's doing right now. Like feeling depressed is kind of like on the menu. Not feeling safe, not feeling secure. So that could be coming up for you, that could be coming up for your kids. So it's just good to be aware of that. And hopefully too, that helps take this parenting edge off of the worry and anxiety that we might be feeling towards our kids. And also, how can you hold this emotional safe space for them to sit beside your kids in the darkness if that's what they're feeling? They may not be able to explain it to you or what they're feeling, and that's okay. Sit beside them anyway. And as you do this, you will be teaching them what is most needed and missing in our society, and that's this medicine of Cancer. This is the feminine energy, receptive, listening, sitting in the discomfort of all that is. And this is what emotional intelligence means. And through your actions, you will be teaching your kids how to do this. And that is also this evolutionary intention of our whole humanity, whole collective, is to go into Cancer. Another aspect of this full moon being highlighted is this building up of new systems and structures, new networks, communities, doing things differently. And even as it's building for the long term, Saturn, that is sustainable, it may not be easy getting it off the ground, but this is the time to do it. Okay, do what never has been done before. So what might that mean for you, parents? Well, there are layers to this, I feel. So you may be stretched to go beyond everything you thought you knew about parenting and education, for example, of the paths that our kids are supposed to walk in order to succeed in this life. In fact, like I was just at a homeschool park day, and one mother was saying that the preschool that they were going to take their child to, they were already talking about getting these kids college ready. And they were 4 years old. So that is this distorted Capricorn energy right there. It's all about being the worker bee, being productive. You gotta do all the accomplishments, hit all those goals so you can be successful. As opposed to, let's let our kids just be kids. Let's let them play and go have fun and just go enjoy their life and take that time to sit and see how they're feeling. So you can see the different energies between that distorted Capricorn and this Cancer medicine, this Cancer wisdom. So be courageous right now. Be brave. Do it differently. This can be a time of really smashing idols, so to speak. These systems and structures that we believed in as parents that represented all these promises that we were given as kids, and having them smashed into bits at this full moon, shining a light on all these promises and how they failed us, how they failed our kids. So this revolutionary time that we're in, very highlighted in astrology, changes are coming. We are going into the unknown, whether we like it or not. We don't know what's on the other side. And it's also okay for that to be incredibly uncomfortable, because that's what it means to go into the unknown. And some of you may have kids like mine, especially who are like my Eric, who are having this very different experience of the world, different sensitivities, who may actually be playing in the quantum realm, as I know Eric certainly is. And these particular kids that are coming in, and you know if you have one, they are pushing on these old systems and structures and saying no to them. Even if they cannot speak a word, they're saying no. And if you're resistant to this different path, or your child being who they are, just know that this might be a very challenging time ahead for you. It's like this is a parallel of our wider world that we are experiencing. This isn't just tied to you having a unique child or one who is normal. It's the more we resist change, the more the tension and the clash builds. And again, expect to see this mirrored in our outer world globally. Know that this is happening right now. This is the energy of the moment. And ask yourself, as my old world, my beliefs and patterns and structures collapse, the things that actually weren't working for me or my child, what can I bring in instead? Use that energy to be your focus. What is new and exciting and different to you, to your child? Do that. Focus your energy on that, on what you are creating and what you want to bring in that is better, and it actually meets the needs of your child, and not just, this is the way that things have always been done, so buck up, pull up your bootstraps and stop crying. You know what I mean? We're letting those paradigms go. They are no longer relevant into the world that we are stepping into. You will be so supportive if you do this, if you say yes to this path. If you're feeling this creative tension within yourself, take that risk. This is the time for that. Do it now. Because this energy is saying that something has got to change. It cannot stay the same. Uranus, our kids, won't let it stay the same. So be courageous. Take the giant leap forward and see where it carries you. Trust in the inner fire on your soul and on your kids. What's calling in your heart, what's calling in them, do that. Do it differently. Do it in a way that is uniquely you. And that's what's required to be this wave paver, the trailblazers that we are, to go into the dark and create something new, something better. And yes, the astrology is saying that time is now. This whole month is about digging into the bottom of the basement, into the darkness, and shining a big light on all areas, structures, systems in society, within ourselves that are not working. Because we have suffered trauma through the experiences of our life, our past lives on this planet, our ancestors, and all that energy is within us still. This is a time to come back into the body, into our senses, to reintegrate all parts of ourselves so we can heal and witness and experience this full range of emotions, the good, the bad, the ugly. Because Venus isn't just about love and life, she is also hell as well. And that's what's required to shift, to pivot, to change directions and head into the wilderness, to follow our children into the wilderness, onto the path that is specifically meant for them. Not to the cookie cutter, this is the way things have been done, but follow them. Let them lead you, let them guide you into some place completely new and exciting and different. But we have to give that to ourselves first before we can ever shine a light on the path of our kids. It always has to start with us. I hope that was helpful. If you need support right now, if you are really in the thick of it, and you have a unique child you don't know what to do with or how best to support them, I'm here for you. Again, I offer coaching, also birth chart readings, so we can really see what areas that are highlighted for your child, their sensitivities, their unique direction into this world, into this life. Please go to my website, send me a message, and I would love to support you and your child on their unique journey. Please like and subscribe, share this message with your friends and anyone with kids that you know is really struggling right now and having a hard time. Again, it's so much better to understand this energy and to meet it head on, to surf these waves instead of being tossed around by them. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Take care. Bye-bye.